I've driven the Rivian in deep snow, over rocky forest surface roads, and all over the West Coast. I've owned almost 30 vehicles in my life, and the R1S is by far the most well-rounded in terms of versatility and performance in one package. And it does all of that without burning a drop of gas. I'm Mike, and this is my 2023 Rivian R1S quad motor. I've been taking a break from YouTube over the last couple of years, but my love for cars has continued to exist. I've really enjoyed driving this R1S over the last 2 years, and I've put almost 30,000 miles on it. To me, the Rivian R1S is the perfectly sized family vehicle for a family of four like mine. It's a little bit smaller than a Suburban or a Tahoe, but also a little bit bigger than a 4Runner, kind of in that sweet spot. It's got a third row seat, so there's seating capacity for 7, perfect if we want to bring a few friends or cousins along with us somewhere. And even when that third row seat is in use, it also has a pretty reasonable amount of cargo space in the rear, as well as the frunk up here under the hood. The Rivian R1S is available in either a standard battery pack, a large battery pack, or a max battery pack, and you can get it with 2, 3, or 4 motors. The R1S is on its second generation, although this is the first generation model. With the first generation quad motor, it had a very impressive 835 horsepower and 905 pound-feet of torque. I'm not sure what Rivian was thinking when they bumped up the new quad motor to 1,025 horsepower and 1,198 pound-feet of torque. Absolutely crazy, although if you get into the basic model, it's got about 533 horsepower, which seems a lot more reasonable. So it's great that they offer that 1,025 horsepower for those of you that need something totally excessive, but I think that even with that 533, most people are going to be satisfied. Despite its off-road capability, the R1S is still easy to live with around town. The ride is quiet, steering's light, and visibility is good for a vehicle this size. It doesn't feel oversized in a parking lot or on a grocery run. All controls in the vehicle run through a pair of screens. There are no physical buttons. That takes some getting used to, especially if you're a little bit older, but the software is very intuitive, and Rivian pushes regular updates to improve performance and add features. There's also a built-in security system with perimeter cameras that notifies you if something seems off while you're parked. The DC fast charging is solid, about 10 to 80% charge in under an hour if you're using a good station. One thing that's actually surprised me about having an electric vehicle is how convenient the electric charging part of it is compared to fueling a gas vehicle, which is kind of the opposite of what you hear. And there is some reality to the inconvenience of charging an EV when you're going on a road trip, because you do have to plan around charging stations. And so it does limit you a little bit in terms of how far you can drive and where you stop. But I've actually found that it's not that inconvenient. Generally on a long road trip, you want to stop and get a meal or use the restroom. And so you just kind of plan those stops around where chargers are. Usually, I'll find a restaurant near an EV charger, stop, take a 45-minute break, and the car's ready to go again. And so it hasn't been that inconvenient other than just kind of limiting where you can stop and how long you can drive before you make a stop. But the thing about it is that the other 99% of the time when I'm driving in my community, from my house, going to work, going places on the weekend, I do all of that with just home charging. So I'm able to just plug in from my garage once or twice a week and have a full charge when I need it, and I never have to go to a fueling station. And so it's kind of ironic because those same people that are making fun of me for having to stop on long road trips to charge my vehicle, they're at fueling stations on a weekly basis, spending 5-10 minutes waiting in line to get gas, and I don't have to do that. And so that is one thing that I have found to be really convenient with an EV, is just taking those regular fueling stops out of the equation, with the sacrifice of road trips being a little bit more inconvenient. Rivian's recently gained access to the Tesla supercharger network, which has completely transformed the experience when going on long road trips. In the past, it was always a struggle finding reliable charging stations that were fast. Oftentimes there weren't very many chargers, so you're waiting for somebody else to finish their charge. And with access to the Tesla network, they have stations all over the place, usually quite a few chargers at each station, and they are extremely reliable and fast chargers. And so that's been a huge benefit when going on those road trips. The towing capacity on my R1S is 7,700 pounds and payload capacity is 1,800 pounds. And it tows extremely well with all that horsepower, torque, and just the ride quality on the Rivian. It's very calm, it's very composed, very capable when it comes to towing. Although, one of the big drawbacks of an EV is the impact on range, which is in the realm of about 40 to 50% if we're talking about a large travel trailer or a wake boat. So it is definitely a downside if you're talking about traveling over long distances, although the vehicle is very capable for those shorter distances, which isn't a problem if you live in a place like I do, where the lake is about 45 minutes from home. The R1S hasn't been perfect. There's definitely been some minor build quality issues when it comes to panel gaps, trim pieces, weird squeaks and rattles, but I found so far that Rivian's been really willing to address those issues without any hesitation. Another thing that's been pretty cool about the Rivian is that there's been a number of over-the-air updates since I bought it that continue to improve the vehicle, removing bugs, improving displays, actually adding features to the vehicle. For example, when you turn the blinker on, it has a little window that pops up with a view of the blind spot. That's an over-the-air update that it didn't have when I first bought the vehicle. The accent lighting inside used to be white, and a few months after getting it, they added the capability to change to different light settings, so you could choose what color you wanted those lights to be. They also added a feature to be able to adjust the range on the vehicle depending on the wheel tire configuration. So I've got the all-terrain tires for winter driving, and then I've got this set of the road tires for summer driving. I can put in the vehicle when I change those tires. It'll let me know when it's time to rotate them, and then it also lets me know what the updated range is with these new wheels and tires. Those are all features that didn't exist on the vehicle when I bought it, and have continued to improve it over the last 2 years that I've owned it. The Rivian comes with a very competitive warranty, 5 years or 60,000 miles for the comprehensive warranty, and then it's got an 8-year, 175,000 mile powertrain and battery warranty, which definitely gives you some peace of mind, assuming that Rivian is still in business in a few years. Rivian's network of service centers continues to expand across the United States, but is largely focused in larger areas, bigger cities. And so for many people like myself, it's a several-hour drive to get to a service center. Fortunately, they do offer mobile servicing where they actually come out to you at your home or your place of work and take care of more minor issues. I have found both with the service centers as well as mobile servicing that it's hard to get an appointment. I think as they're growing, there's certainly some growing pains that come with that, and so that's been hard, but they have been great in terms of actually taking care of issues. One definite downside is that with the mobile servicing, they can only take care of really minor issues, and so with the larger issues, you still have to transport the vehicle to a service center. I've only had to do that one time, and I did have a pretty good experience. It took about a week for them to fix what was wrong with my car, and so they gave me an R1T and let me borrow it for the week, and so definitely appreciated that. The inconvenience, though, is that that service center is located about 3 or 4 hours away, and so it required driving over one weekend to drop my car off, get the loaner, and then coming back the following week to pick up my vehicle after it was done. If you're looking for one vehicle that can replace your family SUV, your rock crawler, and your sports car, the Rivian has you covered.